Okay, so now we're ready to actually teach a NearPod lesson. So the same process applies whether it's a lesson you found in the NearPod library or one you created. So on your homepage, you're going to find the lesson you want to teach. Let's say I wanted to teach this multiplicative comparison one. You're going to just hover over it. And there are two choices. You can do live synchronous participation, where the teacher is controlling the presentation on their computer while the students are working on their own devices, or student-paced or asynchronous, where the teacher is not involved while the student is working. So I'm going to click on live participation, and you can create multiple sessions of these lessons if you teach multiple classes. It will actually create a unique code and link for every session you create. So the students can type in join.nearpod.com and enter the code. You can also just share the link here. So you can just copy it. You can upload it into Google Classroom right here. So you're just going to give it access to your Google Classroom and then post it that way. There are a couple other options that I haven't used. The link in the Google Classroom have been the most helpful for me, but lots of different choices here. Okay. Now, while you're waiting, since this is a live session, you're waiting to see if students are in. And down here, you can actually see. Right now, I don't have anyone in. As they log in, they're going to type their name in, and then they'll log in, and you can see that they're here, which is helpful for attendance and just to make sure you're not leaving anyone behind. And that will stay at the bottom of your teacher screen throughout the lesson. So now this is my teacher view. I don't usually share my screen during a NearPod lesson because the kids have their own screen with the slides. I'm just, as a teacher, controlling what they see. So now I'm going to click the arrow. The student's slide will automatically advance. And they don't need the teacher slide. So, we'll go over the objective, then I'll switch the slide. They can't go back and forth. I am controlling this since it's a synchronous lesson. So as the students are working, if there's a video, you'll get this message or an audio clip that they can play it on their own device, or you'll just play it on yours. And then once you get to an activity like a fill in the blank or something like that, as the students are working, they'll see a different screen. They'll actually see the activity and you'll see their results as they come up. If you want to see the student view while you're teaching as well, what I do is I'll just open a new window, usually in Safari. Right now I'm in Chrome, so I'll open it in Safari and actually join as a student so I can see what the students are seeing. So that's been helpful. You can X out of this session and you can resume it later. So like if you don't finish the lesson, you can always go back to it. So I'm going to say yes. And I want to just show you what happens. Now, let's say I wanted to resume that lesson. You're going to hit live again, and it will show you it's one of my session that I started already. If you wanted a new session, you can launch a new one if you had like a different class period. But it does expire in 14 days. I think that's the automatic time period. If you do student-paced, so let's say I was teaching this one student-paced, you're going to see basically the same thing. It's going to be this link and require student submissions. I would hit on. You can change how long they have access in this one. You can view progress as they're working and apply it, and then you can share it any of those ways. So those are the two ways you can actually teach your lessons. So again, live is your synchronous lesson where you're controlling the slides. Student pace would be asynchronous where they can just work through the slides at their own pace.